Forgot my card. Okay, we'll call the Budget Committee meeting to order. My name is Brooke Harris, Chair of the committee. First order of business is the roll call. Ms. Washer?
Mr. Harris,
Here.
Mr. Curran, Mrs. Burdick,
Here.
Mr. Fanton, Mr. Ricky, Mr. Stockin, Mr. Crandall. 5 members present.
Thank you. Next order of business is the approval of minutes from the March 17th meeting. Moved by Legislator Stockin, seconded by Legislator Ricky. Thank you. Any comments or corrections? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Those minutes are approved. County Treasurer Terry Ross. Sales tax.
Good afternoon, everyone. The sales tax was submitted in your packet. We did very well for this last month, and we received about $356,000 more than what we did last year at this particular time. So we're up about 7% gross-wise. If we take out the diversion payment for the hospitals that was done in February, we're still up about 5% from where we were last year at this time. Are there any questions?
Do you suppose that the stimulus, direct stimulus checks had anything to do with this increase?
I'm assuming that might have had some of the impact on the sales tax.
The time frames, right?
Time frame's about right for the most recent one, yes. And we'll probably see some effects of that in the May payments, because those will cover the April spending.
Okay, so probably safe to not consider this a trend. It could just be a bump from the stimulus.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions on the sales tax report? Okay, revenue report.
I've submitted the revenue report for general fund through March 31st. And we are, at this point in time, let me get to the end of that. We have booked approximately 32% of the revenue for the year, which is good. That's about where we should be. We're about 25%. This represents 25% through the year. There are some claims, of course, that have not been booked yet that were for expenses through March 31st, but most of them are not required to be claimed until 30 days after the end of the period that they're claiming, so those will show up in the next one.
Is any of this revenue attributed to the state settling up what they withheld in 2020 or no?
There might be a few claims that were paid. The 20% was paid, but there was an awful lot that did not happen until after the April 1st change in fiscal period for the state, which we'll see those in the next month as well.
Okay.
It was about 15 days into the month before we started seeing state money again in April, so.
Are there any big ticket items the state's withholding right now?
Not that I can think of. We got paid for that RTA money at the beginning of April. So we are not, that was about $1 million, 900 and some $1,000. And we received that in April. There's no real big ticket item that I can think of right now. The claims have been coming in pretty normal.
Okay, any questions on the revenue report before we go to expenses? Okay, onward.
I did provide an expense report through March 31st this time, which normally I have not done that. I just wanted to point out that we are, expense-wise, we're about the 34% spent for the year, which isn't bad compared to our revenues, so we're on target with all that. This report just shows generally for general fund what we spent in each category for the first quarter of the year. So you can look at the various line items and see what we've spent this year and what was spent last year at this time as well. There is one item that I will point out, that at the very end of the report, and there is a total, And the total that we have expended thus far this year is about $35 million. $20 million of that, 19.8, which is the line item right above the total on that page. Well, maybe not on your page, it is on mine, sorry.
That's the previous page.
It's
yeah.
the previous page, yes. That 19 million is what we fund other funds with from general fund. It's the interfund transfers. Last year at this time, we had not done that by March 31st. So that's the big difference between what we spent last year at this time and what we spent this year.
Right, so that's not scary. It's not as scary as it looks.
No, it is not scary. It's just timing wise, we were able to get it in before March 31st, and last year we didn't. Are there any questions on that, or anything anyone wants me to explain, or?
Okay, if we're good with that, I think everybody got a copy of the community college report.
Right, the community college report is an annual report that we'll hand out for the expenses that we've incurred in 2020. And it kind of goes in order in the packet, but the first page is by town. And as you know, the community college expenses are really a town expense that the county picks up for not sharing sales tax. Overall, we spent about $924,000 last year in community colleges. And this report shows you how many students we paid. We registered about 973 students for the chargeback program. We really only paid out on 705. There's a little bit of a breakdown on that of who was enrolled in 2 colleges, 3 colleges, splits. We try to keep track of all that, and an estimated number of high school students that we paid for as well as part of the program. So that particular page goes by town alphabetically. The back side of that page goes by town by dollar amount paid out. So it's a little bit different order, but that's the by town cost. The green sheet that's after that compares the 19s to the 20s. Same thing, front page is by alpha. The second page of that is the 5-year look back. It's actually a 6-year look back of the expenses that we've had per town alphabetically. Kind of gives you a big picture of what the changes have been. Some of the increases are based on the number of students. Some of the increases are based on the increase in tuition costs per college, per credit hour.
The community college tuitions are set by SUNY.
They are set by SUNY, yes. We have the rates for 2021, 2020, 2021, and the increase, according to the increases that we've got, we could see possibly an increase in our costs of about $65,000, but we have that budgeted, so. But we do analyze what the increases are from the colleges for their tuition rates and figure out, how that's going to affect us overall.
Do they set that annually, or do they go out a couple of years?
Nope, they set that annually. So it's a guessing game when you set your budget, but you try to take into consideration the trend. Mr. Barnes?
Yes, a couple questions. Registered versus paid students.
Sorry, Gary, microphone, please. Thank you.
Sorry about that. The difference between registered and paid students, is that people who registered to take courses but never actually took the courses?
Are you referring to the number on the yellow page?
Yes.
Yes, that is those kids that have indicated that they are going to attend a community college, and in the end, by the time the school bills us, we're down to that other number.
Okay, and the other question is the high school, is that college courses taught in the high schools?
Correct. Yeah, they have to register for that as well, and we pay the chargeback rate as well on them. We try to track that. high school students because there's a gray area in the law about paying for high school students, so we like to have that number available if NISAC asks for it.
Thank you.
There's no income requirements for this, right?
None. That is all set by the state in the state ed law that if you do not have a community college, well, even if you do have a community college, anyone that attends a community college outside of your area, you're supposed to pay a third of the cost. The state picks up a third, the individual picks up a third, and the county picks up a third.
So this is one of many services we provide to municipalities in lieu of sales tax sharing.
Correct.
And it's been a while since we got a report on that, the myriad other ways that we do. Is that something we could maybe put on the agenda for next month, just take a look at?
You want to take a look at the report that was developed about what we provide in lieu of sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I believe that we can pull that together.
Oh, Phil Stockton already
Mr.
has
Stockton has it right there available for you.
it. What year is it?
We do have that on the record already.
Correct.
Yeah. It's worth revisiting with the AIM diversion. Okay. Any other questions on community college?
Yeah, just so that you're aware, but the next two sheets that are in the packet are by college, not by town. So they go by what dollar amount we pay to each community college in the state. And that's all I have on that.
Ms. Burdick?
Is this amount that's paid for a full year of tuition?
Correct. If it's billed by credit hour. So if the student only goes for the spring, we only pay for the spring. Because it's paid by however many credit hours they take per semester. So that if they only attend one, we only get billed for one.
Thank you.
Yep,
And the colleges bill you directly.
correct.
Okay. Big Five quarterly reports.
Yeah, last year, if you'll remember, we didn't have the departments do the quarterly reports for the budget, where they were in their budget for the current year. And last year, we had them submit a biannual report with their budget presentation in July. So the thought is that we would continue to do that and have every department submit a semi-annual budget reconciliation to the committee when they submit their budget, and then they would, when they come to talk to the budget committee about their budget in August, that would be the time for the discussion at that point.
Are there any concerns with that from the committee? I never really, despite the efforts of compiling those reports, I never really got a lot out of them, to be honest. And wouldn't you say, Terry, that if there's any major budget issues within a particular department, they would be inclined to bring that up to their respective committees anyway, right?
Correct. I believe that they would come if they were gonna be short on an expense, they'd come and ask for a budget transfer, or vice versa. I think that last year we also created a report from the system, so it was more real time, that they didn't have to prepare a report outside. It was easy to push a button and they could do that. We did that for the last year's budget reports at the, when they came to visit you about what their request was for the next year.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, Mr. Ricky?
Yeah, just on, we never know till you do the books from 2020 till now, because I want to know who the winners and losers are, because you take the big five, some of them might be 200 grand short, but you steal it from another one to pay it. I'd like to see who's the winner and the loser. Can you Is that, it
Yeah.
can't be that hard. You
No.
gotta have those numbers.
No, we can do that.
I'd just
and,
like to see, and then we could budget appropriately for them the next year, if they're gonna be constant, if that's the case. I don't know.
Right, and that shows up in the reports that they would give to you for their budget as well. They would, it would show where they were actually from the year before. In fact, we try to list at least 2 or 3 years on those reports. But we can do that. We have already done the year-end transfers, so right now the budget has the correction in there if the department went over or was under. The correction is in the system at this point, but we can do that pre-year-end transfer.
Right, maybe just, here's the 5 big corrections
Yeah.
on one page, so you don't have to wade through it all.
Yeah, we can list that. We do we do report on that year-end transfer, but I can see what I can come up with
Thank you.
for that.
Legislator Healy?
And that's always been available at your office for any legislator to come down and see that, isn't that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes, and now that in DPW, sometimes we have capital projects that we do put money in, so that would show up.
Correct. But usually I report on general fund. If you want to see all the other funds, we can do that as well, but
Okay, good on that.
good on that.
Any old business? We're good on the ARP, American Rescue Plan. You're going to discuss that a little bit in Ways and Means, is that correct?
Yes, we can
Okay,
discuss
so
that
we don't
in
have to
meetings.
discuss it here.
Correct.
Any new business? You have, Mr. Fenton?
Yeah, I just want to announce, we're next, in May 5th at 10 o'clock, Department of Public Works will be doing a walkthrough of our facility in Friendship. So anyone that is interested in attending that, it'll be 10 o'clock in the morning of the 5th. We have meetings in the afternoon. We're going to do a walkthrough to look at the facility. So any legislators or anyone else that's interested in looking at our facility in Friendship, you're welcome to attend. Thank you.
Mr. Barnes?
I would ask Brenda to send out a reminder, a couple, 3 days ahead of that, please. Thank you.
Mr. Stockin?
Were we earlier today talking about a 10 o'clock committee of the whole that day?
Oh, we were?
Yeah,
Well,
both-
this takes priority. Just in case you didn't know. Whatever.
both Wednesdays of the month, you mentioned that.
We can fight it out, whatever. I don't know what, I forgot that. We said if we don't need it, we won't do it, so I don't think we need a committee of the whole next Monday, or the 5th.
Well, perhaps that could be.
Yeah, that could be the committee of the whole. Where's Kurt? What do you think, Kurt?
I knew nobody listened to me when I said stuff like that. We can look and see if there's nothing that needs to be addressed at that time. We can bypass that one, but we put it on the calendar to hold the spot, and I think the time was 10 o'clock.
Well, however, Brenda will send out a message, correct?
Yeah, we'll
Yep.
sort it out.
Thank you. Pardon? 10 o'clock. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, also, anyone else have something in new business? I don't know if everybody saw that Jody Adams sent out something from NISAC that detailed a little bit about the CHIPS increases and extreme weather and it's paved New York. That was one of the good things that came out of the state budget. We got increases in all those three. So it'll be interesting in Public Works to hear the plans for that. The only other thing I have of note is that NACO's doing another update on the rescue plan funding tomorrow by webinar, I think, or maybe conference call. But I think we all got that email. Okay. If there's no other new business, anything for the good of the order? If not, a motion to adjourn made by Mr. Fenton, seconded by Ms. Burdick. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.